Hello all, welcome back to today's lecture. And in today's lecture, we are going to let me first share the screen. Right. So in today's lecture, we are going to see further more about the difference in error for two hypotheses and comparing learning. Before we dive into our today's lecture, let us have a quick recap of what we had in the previous lecture. Right, so in the previous lecture, we discussed about the basics of the sampling theory, the fundamental statistical terms and definitions for sampling theory, and after which we discussed about the general approach for deriving the confidence intervals. All right. So in today's lecture, we are going to compare the learning algorithms as well as we are going to see what is the difference in the error of two hypotheses. Right? We have already discussed about the sample error and true error and those things. Right? So our main area of focus will be today to find the comparison between those errors, right? The difference between those errors of the two hypotheses, and also comparing the learning algorithm. So let me quickly go to the slide and show you the difference between the hypotheses. Right. So first thing first, when we find the difference in the error of two hypothesis, we have to first apply and see. Right, we have to first pick the parameter wherein we can estimate those errors, right, and then we will see how an estimator would do, right, how to choose an estimator, right. So if you can recall, we have already discussed what is an estimator, what is the estimation bias, and those things, when we discussed about the basics of the sampling theory. Right. So when we try to find out the difference in the error of two hypotheses, we have to first test, right, on those hypotheses. So we'll be first testing the, let's say, first hypothesis with some sample test example, let's say S1, right. So we'll be testing the first hypothesis on the sample space example S1, and similarly we'll be testing the second hypothesis with the second sample, let's name it S2, right. So once we test this, we can compute the error, right, then we can choose an estimator, and then we can define or determine the probability distribution, right. So we have already discussed about what is the probability distribution, what is normal distribution, and what is the other type of distributions that we have seen in the basics of when we discuss the sampling theory, right. So just to remind you, we have discussed about the normal distribution as well as the binomial distribution. So in the binomial distribution, we had discussed an example with respect to tossing a coin, if you recall, right? And then we computed the probability distribution for that example. So similarly, here in this, uh, you know, understanding the difference between the errors in the hypothesis, two hypotheses, we are going to similarly use the probability distribution here for the estimators. So first thing is to pick the parameters to estimate, right? The parameter which needs to be estimated. So we are going to first calculate the difference between the errors of these two hypotheses, H1 and H2, right? So once we have these errors, the true error, this is actually the true error, right? So error D of H1, which is the true error for H1, and error D of H2 is the true error for hypothesis H2, right? So once we have this difference, just a second. Yes. So once we have the difference between these true errors, right, it becomes easier for us to pick the parameters to be estimated, right? So once we choose the estimator, how we are going to choose? We are going to choose the estimator by comparing the difference between the sample error instead of the true error, right? Because we are going to check in the sample data whether the difference between the sample error of one hypothesis and the second hypothesis, whether it can be chosen as an estimator, right? So we are going to choose the estimator depending on the difference between the sample error for H1 and sample error for H2, right? And we are going to name it, let's say, D cap. So please notice the difference here. D is the difference between the true errors, and D cap is the difference between the sample errors, which will be used to choose the estimator. Right. So once we have this, we are going to determine the probability distribution, which governs this particular estimator here. Right. And how do we go about it? We are going to, let me zoom it in more. Yeah. So we are going to compute the sigma d cap. Right. Hope you remember the sigma d cap, which we have discussed in the previous class. Right. So approximately it is the summation of both these, the ratio of the sample error for first hypothesis as well as the ratio of the sample error for the second hypothesis by the number which are independently drawn, right? These are the instances n1 and n2, right? So this uh, formula right here will give us the probability distribution which governs the estimator. So once we have the parameter and the estimator and the probability distribution, we are going to find the interval, right? So interval, we are going to find the lower limit as well as the upper limit for that, as we have discussed in the previous class, right? When we discussed the confidence interval, right? So finding the interval, we are going to compute, as I said, two aspects, that is lower limit and the upper limit, right? Such that the n percentage of probability mass falls in this interval. Now, what is this interval here? Right? Let me zoom it out. Yeah. So what is this interval here? As you can see, the it is uh, it is again the ratio of the sample space or the sample error for the hypothesis 1 and the ratio of the sample error for the hypothesis 2 with respect to their own independently drawn instances, right? N1 for H1 and N2 for the hypothesis H2, right? So, but in addition to this, we are going to either add or subtract the estimator here, right? That is nothing but the D cap, right? So that will give us the lower limit, right, as well as the upper limit. So we have now the complete range, the complete interval, that is the lower limit and the upper limit, uh, for such that the n percentage, which is nothing but our confidence interval of the probability mass fall, right? So this is about the difference in the hypothesis. Let us move further and understand more into depth. What is the difference in the errors of these two hypotheses, right? So the formula is quite clear, but let us go further into depth to check the paired t-tests to compare these both hypotheses. Let's name it HA and HB. Right, so we have these two hypotheses HA and HB, right? And we are going to, the paired test to compare this HA and HB. Now, what do we mean by this paired test, right? So paired t-test, which is nothing but comparing the both HA and HB, right, in pair, right? So in order to do that, let whatever the data that we have, we need to make sure that we partition that data into some sets, right? Partition that complete data into smaller sets. Now, very important aspect here is to divide or partition this data into some, tests which are equally sized, right? So what I mean to say here is the partition that we do for that whole data set are to be equal sized. Let's say we have test sets named T1, T2, T3, and let's say till Tk. Okay, so k number of test sets is what we have. So k here is the this these are most importantly here, these are the k disjoint tests. By disjoint, I think you are already aware, you are already have learned the discrete mathematical structure, right? So disjoint, just to give you again a view of it. Disjoint sets, by that I mean that none of the test element from one set can be part of the other set, right? So there is no joint. They are disjoint test sets, right? So if I have to explain you with respect to a Venn diagram, right? Let's imagine two Venn diagram, I mean two circles in a Venn diagram. So these two circles will be, uh, at a distance apart. There will be no disjointing. There will not be a conjunction between these two circles, right? There will be two different circles. So we have to ensure that the partition of this data that we are going to D are the disjoint test set. And second most important thing is these test sets are equal in size, right? They are equal sizes. So T1 is equal to will be equal to T2 with respect to size, right? Not the test elements, but the size. T1, T2, T3, and so on till Tk will be equally sized, where we can set the size, right? Where, let's say for example, where this size is at least 30, right? So this size we can set it. Now, for we have to set up a loop that for all these sets, right, from 1, 2, 3, so on till k, right? So we are actually going to set an iteration here that for I, where I is nothing but these the iteration of these sets itself, right? From 1 to the total number of disjoint test sets, that is k, whatever the size is. So as I mentioned, the size is at least should be 30. So k, let's imagine if it is 30, if the size is 30, then k is 30 here. So for I from 1 to 30, what we are going to do is we are going to compute the delta value. Delta is nothing but the change, the difference, right? We are going to compute the delta value for each of these sets, which is nothing but represented by di here. So di is nothing but the delta value, the change for each particular set. So for first set, it will be d1, second set d2, d3, sorry, delta 1, delta 2, delta 3, and so on till delta k. So that will give us the difference here. Now, difference of what? Difference of two errors, right? So for here, as you can see here in the formula, error, let me zoom it in, error Ti of Ha minus error Ti of Hb, right? So what is Ti here? Ti is nothing but it is the test set, right? The test set for, let's say, the set 1 will be T1, set 2 will be T2, 3 will be T3, kth will be Tk. So k can be anything. It can be value like I said 30 or maybe more than that, right? At least 30. So this is the value that we have set. So nothing to worry about it. But the point here is to note the difference or the delta value for each of these iteration for these test set. So not just the test set of that particular hypothesis, but the other hypothesis also, right? So for hypothesis A, we are going to compute the error Ti for the hypothesis Ha, and also the error for the error Ti for the hypothesis Hb. Now the difference of these error computed is nothing but our delta value, right? Our change in the error. So this is the difference in the errors of these two hypotheses, right? So now I think it is clear that how can we compute the difference, uh, you know, in the error of two hypotheses, right? Let me show that slide again, right? So this difference in the error of two hypotheses, as I said, it is HA, right, and HB. So this difference between the error is nothing but the delta value, right? The delta I can name it, right? So now once we have this delta value or delta I for all of these iterations, we are going to return the value of this delta. How? We are going to return the value using this particular formula right here, right? So there is delta value, which is nothing but the mean of, as you can see, delta bar. Delta bar is nothing but it is the mean of all the iterations, right? So here in step 2, we computed the change or the delta value for each of the set, right? As you can see, it is delta I. So for each of the set, we are computing delta. So we have to compute the mean or the average of this delta value in order to compute further. So what we will return is we will return the mean value of these all these delta values, right? So this delta uh, bar is nothing but it is the mean of all the delta values for all the sets, test sets. So once we have this mean value for this delta, we are going to put this into the formula, right? Uh, we already know the di, right? We already know the di for each of the instances, and we are simply going to divide by the total number of test set, which will give us the mean value. It's a simple average formula, right? What you usually compute. For example, if you want to find the average of three eyes, you add all the marks of the three eyes and you divide it by three, so that you have the average. And so similarly, we return the mean delta value by summing upon all the delta values for all these sets divided by the total number of sets, which is k, right? So this way we have the average difference, right? The overall difference, the mean difference of two errors, the errors of two hypotheses, right? So now here, once we have this delta value, we need to compute the confidence interval, right? The n percentage confidence interval. And how do we compute it? So for that, we already have a formula here which computes the the n percentage confidence interval estimated for this d value, right? So this formula right here, as you can see, this important point to be noted here is that the delta I, which we have, the change or the delta value for each of these instances in the test set, it is approximately the normally distributed value, right? It is the normally distributed itself, the delta value. Since if you can recall, when we started off this process, we divided the test set into equal sizes, right? And all these test sets are disjoint. None of the sets have any kind of joint there. All the test sets have are disjoint. So we can say that this delta I value, which is nothing but the change in the error, the delta in the error, is approximately normally distributed. Right? This is the normally distributed. Right. So with this, we shall conclude this lecture, and further lecture. Let us we will take up the comparing of learning algorithm in the next lecture. Thank you, and stay tuned for the further lectures. Thank you.